I feel deeply honored to receive this award, and especially from a group that is so important to me. However, I have to be honest. I never had any intention to be doing this type of work. I was a performer for many, many years, and I came to a point where I thought maybe I should go back to graduate school, and I did both at the same time. I thought I was going back to graduate school in speech and theater, but it turned out to be speech pathology and audiology, which was quite surprising with all that science. But I still did auditions, and my final audition was one of the most embarrassing auditions ever. I was auditioning for the revival of Annie in the role of Grace, and I sang what I thought was quite a humorous song. We had to sing actually on the Broadway stage, and Martin Charnin, who wrote it, said, "Well, we have an idea that you can sing, but you need to come back again. We're going to call you back, and you'll have to sing I Got Rhythm." And I knew right then that they wanted to know if I could belt, which I couldn't. And I went home and I practiced and practiced, and I kept lowering the key and lowering the key. So basically I was below speech quality. It was kind of sob, and that was so embarrassing. And then in 1984, I met Joe. I was at a conference at Juilliard, which was the Voice Foundation at that time when Dr. Wilbur Gould was in charge. And I heard this room with people screaming, and I went, they were screaming, some people were singing, I thought, and it was mostly physicians, it was mostly otolaryngologists screaming, and there were some singers there, a few speech pathologists, and Joe was teaching belting. So I stayed, I watched the whole session, and then at the end of it, I introduced myself to Joan. She said, I told her what my problem was, and she said, "Okay, come to my apartment next Saturday." And I went to her apartment thinking, oh, this is going to be a voice lesson. I had no idea. There were about 8 people, and Joe was doing all of this research, and we were studying figures and vocal qualities, and she loved the fact that I was in grad school, that I was also a performer, and that I taught singing, and that I had done voiceover. And she said, this information is so important, and you can start a whole new field. And the truth was, I was very, very lucky. There were very few people who had this dual background, and that's how I got started. And I'll tell you, I spent 2.5 years with Joe every Saturday and Sunday. And we became quite close, and very often we would have dinner together a couple of times a month, and I always picked up the check because I was so indebted to her. So Joe, if you're listening to this right now, you owe me. Anyway, I am so happy to receive this award, and I'm so sorry that I can't be with you, but I want to thank you so very much.